Meeting is
We're
being
back.
recorded.
Hey, in case anybody needs to know, it's being recorded. That just came through like so loud. So, all right, cool. Let's see. Did anybody else have anything for Matt and Andrew? Question or anything?
I had a quick question. Hey, Matt and Andrew, how are you guys doing?
Hey, how you doing, man? Yeah, yeah, good.
You guys are like family. We're at the same table.
I know, right?
You guys, how is your employees situation? Have you guys hired a bunch? How's that been up there?
We retain most of our staff coming over from Bayside. So yeah, we have 5 employees. Our best guy just quit a couple weeks ago. So I was hoping to move him into the GM role. So that was kind of a downer. Hired somebody immediately though to replace him. So got one new guy, and the rest of the crew's solid. No superstars, I'd say, but solid crew.
Great.
It's actually one of our struggles. We're trying to like identify and promote a GM from within for next year, and like hopefully move on and open another location. And yeah, the guy just quit that we thought was like the stud that was going to do it. So you know, it happens. We'll find someone else, but yeah, a bit of a setback.
Yeah.
What'd you guys do in revenue last year?
Last year was about 850.
Yeah,
for the one company.
So that makes sense with your goal, trying to do 600 in each. You know,
Yeah.
it's like 33% increase. Is that right? 33%.
Yeah, it'd be 1.2 million. Yeah, that'd be 50%, wouldn't it? Or just under? Yeah.
Dude, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I believe it. Cool. Very good. Thanks, guys.
No
I'm
problem.
gonna mute everybody again just because there are quite a few that are unmuted. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. I don't know about everybody else, but we got Landon is gonna be the next guy down there in East Tallahassee. Take it away, my guy.
Yo, so let me take a look here at my notes. So right now, I'm in growth mode. We have one truck. As far as employees go, it's me, one full-time guy, one part-time guy. I'm gonna be trying to hire 2 more full-time guys in May. As far as trucks go, right now I have another car that I'll actually be using for door hangers. Like, so right now, like we're just doing these, and I'll get into that in a second, but yeah, so pretty much I have that car and I'll be using that as the estimator car. And then we have the other truck that'll be filled with the guys, and then I'll get another truck in May.
So how many trucks do you have right now?
Got one truck and one car that I already had. So,
Cool.
So yeah. And then as far as target revenue for this year, it's between 250 and 300K in revenue this year. Let's see. As far as difficulties, for me, one of the biggest like difficulties this year has been I got married in March, which took up like a ton of my time right when everything was kicking off. So
No, you're saying she took up a bunch of your time. There's no
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah. So getting married like that just like obviously it's good, but also like as far as the business goes, I wasn't able to put as much like time into it, obviously. So then just March and going into April was a little not as like taking off as it could have been if I was like just in the normal swing of things. Also, really the hard thing about it was my close ratio. So I talked about a second ago, but as far as close ratio goes, my close ratio was pretty bad. In March, I believe my close ratio was like 20%. I have a $70 an hour rate. And really what I did was I was doing $70 an hour rate and my close ratio wasn't good. I actually posted this on Facebook, but it wasn't good. And I started dropping dumb fees, e-fees. It still wasn't good. And then I did what else I do? I did something else and essentially just nothing felt like it was working. My close ratio just wasn't where it needed to be. So right now I'm kind of at the stage to where I'm just kind of whatever budgeted hours I think it is, I actually just like multiply that by like 0.75, and that's what I roll with right now. Just getting that up, but I've booked out a few weeks, which is good. Actually, one thing I ran into, so I have these, which I don't know if you can see them, but Oh wait, this one doesn't even have the price on it. Yeah, it does. But yeah, that's it right there. And so normally I always ran weekly and then multiply it by 1.5 for the biweekly. But what I'm finding here is very little people want weekly service, and that's been kind of making my biweekly too high. So something I actually just changed today with Chuck was I take my weekly and multiply it by 1.25. So I'm gonna start running it like that. So yes, that's been my biggest struggle is just a close ratio thing. But yeah, I've been figuring that out. A few weeks booked out right now. And plan on hiring another guy. Not this next week, but the following week. So
I got a question for you.
Yep.
So your wife took up all your time, so you just took her car and were like, I'm using that now because you took all my time.
Yeah. No, it's not her car, but yeah, it's it's our car.
Yeah, now all that crap's now it's all ours. All of a sudden she gains a bunch of assets. Yep. I know how it goes.
No, it was obviously, it's all good. But I knew all this was gonna happen when we're getting married in March. And obviously it's just
and she came to you to training with you, right?
Yeah, she came to training with me. She's super I mean, really the reason that I'm able to have this growth as much as I want to right now is because like she's all in with it. We live completely like on her income right now. We take out from the business when we need to, like a little bit for rent or something like that. But yeah, I mean, we pretty much put everything into marketing right now. So that's what we're doing. Obviously, I still work full time and stuff like that, but we're putting all our money into marketing. And then another, this could be a struggle or also motivation, I guess. For me, my motivation or struggle too is just keep like the first things first. Also, this may be unpopular opinion sometimes, but for me, I'm a Christian, and this is something I take super seriously. Like the business is something I take super seriously, and it's easy for me to give all my time, attention, and stuff like that to the business. But in reality, I believe all these things will fade away one day, and it's worth it to focus on things that are eternal. And that's something that's been a struggle for me to keep that my number one priority. But also just a motivation for you guys who do believe in that or have other beliefs or family and stuff like that, that we need to grind and we need to do that. But also there's other things in life that are worth giving our time and attention to.
Been there, dude. That's an everyday struggle, I think, for all of us. So I appreciate you bringing that point up because I don't know that that's came up in any of the calls that I've done like this before. So I appreciate that. But with that said, you are out of time, my guy, but I need to know Hunts or Heinz.
Yeah. So I said Heinz. I'm
telling you, dude, I don't know where she thought it was a great idea to go get Hunts, but I'm telling you, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Very good. Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Landon. I appreciate it. My guy, Ben, down there in St. Louis, I had the privilege of grabbing dinner with him the other day. Actually, that wasn't yesterday. No, it wasn't. It was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago.
Gotcha. Very cool. Take it away, sir.
So you guys have to apologize, or I have to apologize to you guys. I have literally been working so crazy that I don't even know our numbers.
Come on, Ben.
Insane. So I was like scrambling on the call, like, Chelsea, send me our numbers. She's the one that like does all that stuff right now. Not that I want it to be that way forever, but that's kind of where it's been. But we're kind of in a weird spot. I'll just be really transparent with you guys. We are kind of in like a weird stage. We're in growth mode and profit mode at the same time. I know that's not technically allowed or like the right, it's like you're in one or the other, you have to pick one, whatever. I don't care what people say. We pretty much like we have 2 locations. One's in growth mode, the other one's kind of in profit mode, but we're like, you know what the heck, let's just grow them both, and so we're doing marketing a little bit in both and that kind of thing. But where our acceptance rate is about like 40%, and we were thinking that was like super low and kind of alarming. And it's like, man, we need to be at like 70% or whatever. But then Mike had mentioned on the masterminds, because I had kind of mentioned our acceptance rate. He's like, actually, for your size, he's like, that's not actually bad at all. He's like, I kind of know what you guys are doing. And he's like, that actually sounds, kind of like right on the money. So I think that part's a little bit hard, is because I still don't have the best grasp of how everything is supposed to kind of like mesh together in this ecosystem called a business, where it's like Mike and maybe Lee and some of the other guys that have done this for a while, even maybe through Augusta, they kind of can see something intuitively because they understand, like, okay, here's the pattern, here's this, here's that. And so therefore this is an okay number. Whereas for me, it's like, I have no idea, and so it's been helpful to kind of hear those things. In terms of like how many trucks and people we've had, in our south location, we have 3 trucks. In our north location, we have 2, so 5 altogether. We have about 10 guys that are running. I actually just fired one of them, thanks to Dustin's suggestions. It was not a fun fire, and I actually got a lot of blowback. So Dustin, I'll have to tell you a story later. But I almost lost 2 more guys today because of it, because I fired the one dude. And not that I would have been super sad, but the guys just did not like it. And they were like, because the guy kind of spun a story about kind of how it happened. And it's like, that was just completely BS. And so it just kind of backfired. And so it was just this huge mess. I almost thought I was going to get into a fight today in our workshop. And Chelsea.
Well, hey, the other thing too is firing that guy dictated culture, and you put a fire under them other 2 guys' ass, and they got nervous.
That's true, actually. That was helpful. Even though I probably should have played my cards slightly better. I'm a very forgiving person, and I try to lead with like being nice versus like being a boss. And I think sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's bad. And so I probably should have been a little more upfront about the guy's performance before I actually fired him. But he was like a 17-year-old kid. I'm like, man, this guy, I'm just gonna like crush his heart and dreams and whatever, and he's gonna go cry. I don't know. It was hard for me. But Chelsea actually didn't she didn't want to leave. She ended up staying for like an extra hour and a half while we had this conversation, because she's like, what if they get into like a fist fight or something? So she didn't leave. And then she finally texted me, and I see her driving down the street or whatever. But the guy was so mad, he like threw his hoodie on the ground and was like, if you're gonna, it was awful. He's like, you're a piece of, So, but the cool thing about it is that it ended well. So I had prayed quite a bit before going into the conversation. Just like, I really wanted to show him that I cared about him, and that I cared about the guys, and that his perception of me was wrong, and kind of how we run the business. And I said, part of the reason why we switched to Augusta is because we actually do care about people. And I wanted to give a better opportunity, not just for us, but so that, he could actually make more money. So it's just a really kind of a neat thing. So I think we're stronger as a result. And he and the other guy are like, we are going to kick it into high gear, because now they know we're struggling. Because we actually are. That's another thing to I'm kind of jumping to number 4 in terms of like what our biggest struggle is. Like, we do have a lot of debt. So right now we're at like 37,000, which is not completely awful because our revenue is starting to come in, but it was at like 60 at the beginning of the year. And I just was honest with the guys, and that was like the change in the conversation. So after he threw his shirt, I basically told him, I was like, dude, like, I am working 18-hour days. Like, I literally wake up and I start working at like 7:30 in the morning, and I don't sometimes finish work until like 2 to 2:30, sometimes 3 in the morning. I said, there's no way to like sustain a good life like that. I was like, I don't have friends. At least, I mean, I do have friends, I just don't see them. I was like, I don't even see my own kid. Like I said, I have a 19-month kid, and I've taken her to the park one time, And so that goes back to like the point. I'm sorry, what was your name again? The one who was talking about, you're a Christian?
Landon.
Okay. Sorry. All that comes through is Augusta of East Tallahassee. So, just like Landon, it's like, I want to be a good dad and a good husband. And that's like, I have bigger, goals in life. It's like, business is not everything. It's like, making money is not everything. And so I just told him, I was like, like, we are struggling. Like, I haven't gotten a paycheck all year. I was like, if the business goes under, which it may, I was like, I may not get a paycheck. And it's like, all those hours are gone. It's like they just go into oblivion. And so I just was honest and, that kind of thing. But,
Cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
Did you have a conversation with him? Like when you went into the, hey, I haven't gotten a check, was that like, did you go over your profit and loss at all with him? I know we had talked about doing that the other day because that is such a huge portion of P for P. It's like, hey guys, here's where the money's getting spent and I ain't making nothing. Have you done that yet with your crew?
No, unfortunately. So because I work so much, it's literally like trying to just stay afloat. And it's like one thing after the next, after the next. It's like, I don't even set up the routes sometimes until 1 a.m. Chelsea and I don't eat dinner until it's like 11 o'clock at night. And it's like every night, it's just hard. And so to have to set aside the time to prepare to have those meetings, I think has actually been detrimental. But I wish we had been a farther ahead. Like the transition to Augusta was super hard for us because we already had so many systems in place. So that was a huge struggle. That kind of answers number 4 a little bit. The guys, we actually lost all of our workforce. We only had 1 returning guy. So we have 10 new people. We had 1 returning guy. We service 300 reoccurring clients right now. And it was just, how do you do that? Like, how do you go from 0 to 300 in like a week or 2? And just the
Real
debt.
quick, Ben, we are a little bit over on your time, so I'm going to cut you off. We'll come back to you at the end because there is a lot to go through with you in particular. Nothing against you. I just know a lot of the back end stuff, especially over the last couple of weeks. So we are going to come back to you. We do have 1 guy left, and that's Pascaul out there in Iowa. So Pascaul, if you want to take over and run through your stuff, I know there's not video, but feel free to just unmute yourself and talk through whatever. There's video. Ta-da. All right, let's hear it, man. I don't want to take any more of your time. Thanks,
Okay,
Ben.
so yeah. So hello everyone. Yeah, I am currently in growth mode right now. And I have like 3 trucks and 3 employees. So in my situation, it's a little bit different. I do like a lot of projects, which I'm not planning to do it anymore, but I still do it. I probably gonna do it this year and a little bit next year. And I'm just focusing on getting recording work, mowing, weeding, So I struggle a lot with SA or software. So it's just, I don't know, it's just complicated. Yeah, so maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know. So yeah. What's the other question again?
Yeah, a book you're going through or a good podcast I think one guy gave, or motivation you got or a quote.
Oh, I read I think Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and Habit, The Power of the Habits, I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
That's really good book. So yeah. So
cool. I've got some questions because I talked with you in, I think it was like early March, and there wasn't a ton of work on the schedule. And after talking with you about having hardly any recurring customers, I remember like on that call, it was like, yeah, we just got to get work on the schedule because we got payments coming out. So what I'm interested in, because I haven't gotten an update from you, is how far booked out are you?
Well, on projects like 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months, and I have 3 guys and projects, 2 trucks and 3 guys, and mowing, I'm doing it. So I mow and I do estimates. So
how many
I have like
how many recurring budgeted hours do you have now with mowing?
budget hours like 6 hours.
Okay.
I actually mowed today, and so it was 6 hours and about 10 clients.
Gotcha.
So
And I think I remember you kind of talking about the guys were pushing back a little bit about, I don't really want to just mow. I kind of want to just do patios. Have you had any further conversation with them of just like, hey guys, this is the route that the business is going to take? Did you lose anybody with that?
Um, because I'm still doing it, not yet, but probably yes. Next year, so I'm gonna lose guys, but that's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to simplify the business. On projects there is money to, you can make a lot of money, but it's just not the lifestyle that I want. And so yeah,
For sure.
I just want to simplify the business and just focus on recurring work.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So with
Mhm.
all those projects that you've done, I'd assume like I remember when we talked, you'd done like retaining walls and patios and stuff. So some of those are going to take a little bit more time.
Mhm.
As far as like people in your database that you came in with, I'd assume you have quite a few just because those one-off projects, there's not a whole lot of work you're going to be doing after. How many customers did you take from your old business and move into Service Autopilot?
How many business or how many accounts or what do you
Just
mean?
how many accounts or clients did you move in that you can
Okay.
market to?
About 450.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Have you been
450.
sending one-click estimates for mowing?
Yeah.
Heck
Yep,
yeah.
I did. Yeah.
Have they worked at all?
And I got like 7
Okay.
own accounts. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And the rest, yeah. So yeah.
Sweet.
Mhm.
And last question I have for you, and then anybody
Yep.
else, sorry, I'm just like asking all the questions it feels like, but did you
Yeah,
sell
sure.
the mini skid or the skid or the dump truck, or did you keep all the equipment that we talked about in March?
Not yet, but I'm probably gonna sell it the full skid loader, which I have a debt on it, so I want to sell it and pay the debt, and I think just the big skid loader or the full size skid loader, and the mini skid loader, I'm still gonna keep it for probably planning like 2 years more, and then I will sell it.
They're a
Dump
beautiful thing
trailer,
to have.
yeah, it's really nice. It's hell. It's really good machine, good equipment.
Yeah, I think when we had talked too, I have a little like utility tractor and I was thinking about selling it. I actually had it for sale after talking with Chuck and how low our cash got. And then we sold
Oh,
like probably $10,000 in rock job. And I was like,
uh-huh.
we're not moving that crap with a wheelbarrow. Let's just keep that thing on. It'll be fine. We'll make it through. Like the payment's super low on it. So we ended up keeping it. But yeah.
Yeah, the mini skid loader, I don't own anything, so which is good. So yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Very good.
So,
Does
yeah.
anybody else have questions for, am I saying your name right? Pascal?
Yeah, Pasquale, yep.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a
cool.
little bit hard to pronounce, but yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Does anybody else got questions
Dustin.
for him?
I do. We
Yeah.
talked at training about simplifying your hardscaping. I've seen if you simplified the paver type you're doing, color, etc.
Actually, paver, I'm not installing any paver this year. I dropped like a lot of service. I dropped like grading, I dropped concrete, I dropped anything like trees, like I dropped what is it? So I dropped a lot of services. So no more pavers anymore. I don't do pavers, but I do install walls
Yep.
still. But that's just one type of wall, just one type and one color, like period. Like if the customer wants a different color or different style, as long as it's keystones, uh, they can go and order it and deliver, and we can just install, and I will charge for the labor.
Yep.
And that's it. But I'm offering one type of blocks. Yeah.
Nice.
Which next year there's no walls at all. Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I appreciate it. We got Jason
Mhm.
Storts that just joined us. I think that we might have had the time messed up a little bit, maybe, but you are on, sir. Thank you again, Pascal, for
Mhm.
us filling us in here. Jason, I'm gonna ask to unmute, and maybe that'll like pop something up on your screen.
Okay, I believe I'm good.
Cool. You are on, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I apologize. I really meant to jump in here. We are actually camping with my wife's parents, and I had it set for 8 o'clock, which is in Knoxville, and now we're in Arkansas, so I came in late. So I
No
apologize
worries.
for missing a lot of it. Um, so I wish I could have heard everybody else's, but we are in growth mode, really pumped about what's happened so far this year. We've got 6 employees right now, plus our GM, which is my son, Caleb. He's doing a great job, really proud of him. He's
And
really,
that's who was at our training group,
yes, sir. That's
right?
correct.
So
Yep.
did you go to a training group like earlier, like the year before?
I did. Tracy and I went to training in 21. I believe that's right. In 21, and then made the switch totally this January.
Cool.
So we have 4 trucks right now, 3 mowing and 1 landscaping. Last year we did 570 in revenue, and this year I'm hoping to do between 7 and 8. If we can hit 7, I'll be happy. I'd love to hit 8, but 7 would be a pretty good growth. One of the biggest negatives I've realized, it's been a little hard for me to realize. I've been in business for 25 years, and I am realizing that a big part of what has hindered my growth is my management style. And that's been sort of hard for me to come to grips with and change, realizing that I need to change the way that I manage my people. And seeing Caleb interact with the guys has really helped me with that. He has done a very good job with that. I think in a lot of ways, I worked really hard at growing my business, and it was sort of my baby in a sense. And so I probably took it a little more serious than I should have. And, you know, it's one thing to do that for myself, but our employees are not going to take it as serious as we are. And so that's something that's been hard for me to change. I'm working on that. One positive that I will share that I think is really cool is the potential that we have just by being part of Augusta Nation in recruiting other lawn care professionals that have a desire to move up and want something better. We had a situation a week or two, actually a couple weeks ago, where Caleb met a couple guys that were really sharp, had a real interest in Augusta from what they had already heard. And that would have never happened with my old company, you know, because it was just me and, you know, doing what I do. But I think that that's really exciting, and I think we'll see a lot more of that happen. I really enjoy the Augusta family and the way that we can reach out. I think that's awesome. Being part of that has really been a big help to me. And then one book that I really like is Improve Your People Skills by Patrick King. That's been a good one for me. I've listened to it several times, and I'll probably need to listen to it a few more to try to let some stuff soak in. But that's pretty much what I had. And again, I apologize for missing what everybody else said. I was really
Hey, you're
looking
good.
for the call. I just messed up.
No worries. You did miss one important question, and that is Heinz ketchup or Hunt's ketchup?
I would say Heinz.
You picked right, sir. I
All right.
appreciate it, guys. You guys are on my side. I knew it. I knew we were all brothers. I love it. It's awesome. And Pascal, if you can unmute yourself and tell me, Heinz or Hunt's?
No, I don't like ketchup at all.
You're killing me. That's all right, though. No worries. I appreciate it. Does anybody
Yeah,
have questions for Jason?
Yeah, I had one. Jason, so you were talking about your management style. Could you elaborate on that a little bit and what you meant when you said that you feel like your management style is kind of lacking, or that it's off of what compared to what it should be?
I can try. I think the biggest thing that I have seen different in the way that I manage and the way Caleb does is he doesn't take it near as serious as I do. And he doesn't, one thing he's told me over and over is that I really need to work at keeping my emotions very level. And that's very difficult for me to do. Especially whenever I see somebody that's doing something, I know that they know better. You know, I've trained them a certain way or whatever. At the end of the day, you know, a lot of that stuff really doesn't matter. And if we totally upset our employee by the way we handle a situation, it's not going to make anything better. And so just learning to be more at peace with where we're going long term, and what happens today is really not going to change the trajectory of where we're going to be 6 months or a year from now. I think it just helps lower the stress level for everybody. But in the past, I just, you know, I for 20 years have worked 10 to 12 hours a day in the field, sometimes more, and, you know, have really worked at growing my business. And I've wanted people to have that same passion, and that's just not going to happen. And so I just, I'm sure there's some other things that I could definitely, and Caleb, that might be a good a question for Caleb to show the difference, because, you know, Caleb has worked with me for years. You know, from the time my boys were 12 to 14 years old, they were working with me in the field. And he's really done a lot of studying over the last six months to a year on management styles and how to work with people. And he's done really well with it. And he's helped me in some ways with that. But anyway, that's, I think, just not putting the same level of stress onto our employees that we deal with. We've got to take that stress and sort of internalize it and not put it on our employees. Does that make sense?
Yep. Cool. We're on the 40-minute time frame still, and I just got a thing. We got 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna quick run over where I'm at in Champaign, and I've got another thing. I finished Jocko's book. I started it yesterday for about an hour, and then finished it today. So thank you, Jason, for that. Ben, we're not gonna get back to you, unfortunately, but I'm going to reach out to you, and we're going to do one, just the two of us, to kind of walk through what you're walking through, and maybe share that in the Facebook group if that's cool. And then also, Jason, I'd really like to get your son and Kyle and do one of these, just the three of us. I'm really interested in the dynamic between father and son. My dad just recently retired, and he's got a pretty big sum of cash that was given to him in severance because it was a little bit of a forced retirement out of State Farm. And so we've been looking at doing a couple of things together, and I'm interested on how to keep that relationship positive, because me and my dad are very similar and we struggle sometimes. So I'm going to run really quick through a little bit more Champaign. I went over Bloomington quite a bit yesterday on the call, if you got a chance to watch that. Kyle's doing great. He was going to be on the call, but unfortunately he forgot that he has to lead worship for church and kind of go over rehearsing for Sunday. So he wasn't able to make it. But as far as like down in Champaign, what's unfortunate is I wanted to make sure that the mothership did not implode on itself. And so I stuck around quite a bit, throughout March, and really April 1st is when I was like, okay, I'm going to go start down in Champaign full time. What happened was, because I didn't let go right away, I was getting caught back and forth between helping Bloomington and then going down to Champaign part-time. So actually, this is the first full week that I have been in Champaign every day working full-time down there. Luckily, we closed some pretty big projects, and we're up to 20-ish mowing customers now. So down in Champaign, we're definitely in growth mode, 150%. We are spending a ton of money in marketing. I don't have those numbers yet because my card will not link to QuickBooks. So I just know that we're spending a lot. I did unfortunately have to add more cash into the business, just because I did take a month and didn't really do a whole lot in March. It did suck a little bit more cash than what I was expecting. So I did put another $7,000 into the location. just as more so like working capital, help with a little bit more of the marketing spend. Again, I'm not taking any money out of Champaign or Bloomington. That's just money I had set aside from even before I joined Augusta. And so that's helped us get through really the rest of this month. And then obviously we'll invoice here on Saturday or Sunday it is. And that'll feel really good when we get that money coming in, boys. So not a great month in April, nothing really to write home about. I think we did maybe like 6 or 7 grand in revenue, maybe. And it's just me. We are just now starting to see it pick up where we're selling a lot of recurring customers. So we're definitely doubling down on all the marketing. I'll probably spend 100% of the revenue that we made in marketing for May. Just because we have been mowing for a month now. There's a lot of people that are unhappy with their existing customers, as well as grass is getting tall enough to where like the city will get on you if you don't cut it. So I have a pretty good feeling over the next probably 2-3 weeks, we'll pick up quite a few mowing customers. The goal is kind of by the end of May to have another truck down there with a ramp rack. And all they're going to do, I'm going to hire a guy. All they're going to do is mow, and then I'll do projects on the side. Kind of our revenue goal for Champaign is 200 to 250. I set that probably at the beginning. I felt like I didn't set it high enough, and now I'm like, whoa, this is taking more than what I expected it to take. So we're working through what that looks like. So as far as Champaign, I just have myself in a truck right now. I went over what our goal is. The hardest thing that I've had is letting go of Bloomington and getting out of the mindset of Champaign is in growth mode, drop prices, get as many customers as possible. That's probably been the hardest thing. And a good book, I just went through Jocko's book, Extreme Ownership, for like the 4th time. And I took these notes today. So I forget what they're called. Liz will probably listen to this and be like, you idiot, this is what it is. But the first one is teamwork, and this has to do with leadership. So if the team fails, everybody fails. And so making sure that your employees know and understand that. The second thing is to keep everything simple. Complexity breeds failure and confusion. The team must understand what